Welcome to the Take Two with Tonia podcast with your host, Tonia Myers. This is a space for women 50 years and older to create the life we have always wanted and dreamed of. On this podcast, expect to have your mind expanded, your spirits uplifted, and your soul encouraged. We will explore the self-development journey of others and pull from it the gems needed for our own self-transformations. Hi, everybody. This is Tonia Myers with the Take Two with Tonia podcast. I would like to just thank each and everybody for tuning in, and we have a great show in store for everybody today. I have a special friend and guest here that is going to talk to some of you guys. You know, on Take Two with Tonia, we're always talking about the second phase of our life, and she has definitely started out in the second phase of her life. It could be third, fourth. You never know, but we're going to find out when we talk to her. So my guest today, if you all have ever met me and y'all saw my locks, honey, baby, let me get into it. Come on, get into all of this lovely lockness, right? This young lady, Mrs. Tiffany L. Hunter, is my loctician, and she and I met. I found her on Facebook, and she has been a godsend to my life ever since I found her. So I want to introduce you all to Tiffany Hunter. How are you, Tiffany?
I'm doing great, Tonia. How are you? Thank
I'm
you
good. I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to share your story. So guys, she is the owner of Lock Your World. And she's going to tell you a little bit about what Lock Your World is and kind of how she got started. So Tiffany, you want to take it away?
Perfect. Well, I thank you so much, Tonia, for having me on today. Just excited to share with you guys and share my journey. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
Lock Your World, it's a concept of just learning how to live in the hair that you're in its natural state, and just learn how to love it. You know, our world is so full of, things that are exact and things that are true and things that we, keep us busy and things like that.
Right.
And I feel like your hair should not be one of those things. So that was
Right. Amen.
so yeah. So that was, I have 6 daughters.
Okay.
And all of them are natural, and I just wanted them to have a sense of being comfortable in the skin that they're in and in the hair that they're in. So I just want women in turn that come to me just to feel comfortable with who they are, and just to talk to me about what their obstacles might be. A lot of African American women go through a lot of hair loss and things like that.
Right.
And I just want women to feel comfortable when they come to me that they can indeed live in their hair and that I can lock their world.
Wonderful. So you how did you even get started? Because y'all, let's just put a little caveat in here. She specializes in sister locks, which is a trademark way of locking hair, correct?
Correct.
So she specializes in sister lock. She does other type of lock types, and she'll probably tell you about what some of those are as we discuss it in the show. But she specializes in sister lock. So and you don't just wake up one morning and be like, I want to be a sister lock consultant,
Right.
So how did you kind of get into the whole sister lock thing? Did you have them before or what?
That's a great question. So I started out with traditional locks back in about 2006. I had traditional locks for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I loved them. I was having my third daughter, so I thought it was a great way to just kind of not have, one less thing to do. So I ended up locking my hair. And then in about 2015, I cut my traditional locks out, and I decided to get sister locks. I
Okay.
just cut them totally bald head. And that was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So as I got my sister locks in, it was 2019. April 2019, and I started having my reties. And a retie is just basically maintaining the new growth that you will have when you have sister locks.
Correct.
So, and my practitioner at the time, she talked to me, and I said, I really like to learn how to retie my own hair,
Okay.
because I did retie my hair when I had traditional locks. So I told her I wanted to decide to do that. She told me where to go. Once I got all the information, then I decided that I wanted to learn how to establish Sister Locks and attempt to make it a business for myself. At that time, it really wasn't a business that I wanted to make. It was just kind of like a side hustle that I wanted
Right, right,
to make.
right.
So, yeah. So that was just kind of how I got started, you know.
So, ladies and gentlemen that might be listening, just let you know, sometimes we fall into our businesses. Tiffany is a great example of that, how we just kind of fall into stuff. Apparently, she's always liked locks and she's always enjoyed, the ease of locks. Because let me just tell you, it makes life a whole lot easier to not have to wake up with a bad hair day, right, Tiffany? I mean,
That's right.
we always have a pretty decent hair day. So locks is and I'm not here to sell you on locks, but I am selling you on locks. Okay. I'm not
That's right.
so it does kind of help, but she kind of just fell into the whole sister lock world because she decided to get the lock. So sometimes some of you might have other things that you do, be it some of you might like to sew, some of you might like to make shirts, do candles, cook or something. You could just fall into stuff because that's just what you do on the side, and then it grows into something major.
Right.
And speaking of major, what was like a major turning point in your life that made you switch from the hustle to now this is what you do?
That's a great question. I just wanted to go back just for a moment
Yeah.
and talk about the time frame in which I decided to embark into the Sister Locks world. I knew that I wanted to have a trade that was in my hands that no one could take away from me. And
Right.
I did it in the middle of this pandemic.
Okay.
I did
Oh, that's
fast
good too.
business.
Right.
So talking about stepping out, on faith and in a time where had so much uncertainty. So I basically got my certification in April of 2020.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was a huge, we were in our masks, we were 10 to a room, and a lot of people just kind of gave up. And my thought process was, I want to come out of this learning something new, as opposed to saying, oh my gosh, what did I learn during this whole time of being, in this pandemic? So
And speaking of that, the pandemic has proven, especially in the African American woman society, we have started more of our own home-based businesses during this pandemic than at any other time. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard something that it's going to be like 62% of African American women by the end of 2021 will probably have started their own businesses because, as a result of the pandemic, of having lost jobs and having to figure out what do we want to do, what do we really want to do with our life.
right.
So you started Sister Locks during the pandemic. What is the major point now that got you to the point where this is what I do? Because did you have a job prior to that, or were you doing that along with the job?
Yes, so that's a great point. I did. The major point happened in April of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say fired. I want to say I was freed from my
You were
job at that
freed.
time.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because I knew that I had some fear about stepping away from my 40 for 40 at that time. And, I was in a tough spot. I was working from home pre-pandemic. So I was already working from home, but I was able to work my 40-hour per week job, and I was also able to build my business full time as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had, at that time when I was freed from my job, I had about 34 clients, and
Okay.
now currently I have 62.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so I was
Okay.
able to really build my business, and so yeah, it worked that way. It worked out really good. So that
So
was
it's
a
kind
major
of
turning
doubled. It's
point.
doubled since the pandemic, and that's good. That's a good head count to have for the Sister Lock
Yes,
business, right? That keep you
absolutely.
very very busy.
Yes.
So after you started your business and you were working your business and all that, what were some of the things that you kind of had to unlearn, going from an employee to now I am my brand, I am the entity of my business and stuff? Because a lot
Well,
of people that are listening are probably, especially in my age group, the 50-year-old, we were taught and brought up, you go to school, you get a job, you work, then you retire from that job. And that is not how life is today, right? We barely are we getting to the point where, especially now, if you're 50, you might not get to retire for something, because I've had several jobs throughout my life, and I'm not retiring from any of them, you know.
That's right. That's
So
right.
what were some of the things you had to kind of unlearn
Yes.
going from employee to entrepreneur?
There have been a lot. I did take the University 101 class. I did go to college for 4 years and received my degree in communications arts and sciences and
Hmm.
business. So I'm able to use that right now in my business. I've had to unlearn several things, and this is a great question. Had to unlearn having a boss and having someone tell me what to do. And so now I know that I'm the boss and everything falls on me. And
Right.
so that's a great feeling. And just, knowing that I'm answering to myself. I have had a lot of wonderful people that have poured, most of basically my clients, every client that I have, including you, Tanya, have really poured into my life and
Hmm.
helping me to understand how businesses run, where to take other avenues. So that has been very helpful and very enlightening. I've also had to unlearn just having someone else determine my worth
Right.
and my time. Uh,
Okay.
Again, I'm a mother of 6 daughters, and all of my girls are in different places in their lives. So it was really nice to be able to call my time my own, to
Hmm.
be there for my girls and for my husband as well. So
Right.
that was
Oh,
huge.
that's
And
big.
it
That's
is.
big.
It is. Yep. And then also had to unlearn just having time to myself. When you're working 40 hours per week, 40, 40, 40, you don't realize, oh my gosh, like if I want to go, to the zoo with my daughter, or if I want to go have lunch with my husband, or, if I have parents that need help, things like that, you get that time back, and I can kind of work my time around my schedule. So those are some things that I really have learned. Had
Oh,
to
that's
learn.
good, because time is so invaluable and important. So that is a good one. I know part of the whole, well, with many entrepreneurs, we strive to have that freedom of time to buy back our time, is basically what we want to do, is buy back our time.
Right.
Um, like, so when you, if you right now, what is one of the things that you wish you knew when you were younger, that you could possibly say that you know now? So what would the now Tiffany say to the younger Tiffany?
That's oh gosh, there's probably several, but I think
Uh-huh.
the biggest thing would be to just trust myself,
Mm-hmm.
and just to step out on faith and step away from the norm of corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
The corporate America, when you think about it, and when I thought about being freed from my position, I held a lot of stress that caused anxiety, it caused hair loss, it caused, even with all my hair, it caused a lot that I wasn't aware of until I actually stepped away
Mm-hmm.
from it, and
Okay.
was able to kind of build my own time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true too. That's a great one, because some of the listeners who are listening and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, a lot of our fear is we don't trust our gut, we don't trust ourselves. And so that would be a great thing to tell the younger version of yourself. Just trust who you are, trust your gut, just trust, because God has put all these things in us. You and I talk about that all the time,
That's
the
right.
stuff that God has put into us, for us to do, that just come naturally. But because they come so natural, we don't see it as a gift, or we don't
Right.
see it as something that we could use. And like you being able to use your hands, and I could even say with the 6 daughters that you have, the level of patience that it takes that you have, because you're a very patient person, or at least you appear to be. I don't know, you could be, I don't know, giving me a smoke and mirrors, but you're good at it, you're consistent with it.
I am very
But
patient.
the level of patience that it takes, even when I hear her interact with her children and she's interacted with my children, I can be a little high strung sometimes, but she's like, tell the story. So I love that about you, Tiffany. That's a whole nother story, but that part I do love about you. And that's the yin to my yang, that patience and slower pace that you have with stuff. So that's a good, which comes great with customer service, because some of us are so over the top. um We need that for customer service. Um, how do you tend to, at this stage in your life, how do you manage all of the balls, all the pieces? I know you were saying you have now, you're able to, get your handle your schedule better so that you can hang out with the girls or help your family or hang out with your husband. Do you have like tools that you use to manage your time better, manage your schedule, or do you keep it all in your head? Give us a tip.
Well, that's a great question. I do have a planner, and I was going to grab my planner real quick. This is my planner that I use. It has me on it.
Okay, okay, I
So
see it. Uh-huh.
I use a planner just to kind of make sure that I'm in alignment with all of the appointments that I have, all of the appointments that are important to my daughters, and things like that. I try to schedule time off for myself as well. That's
Mhm.
something that I have been struggling with for probably like the last 4 or 5 months. So I'm
Okay.
really taking big notice and making sure that I'm having time off for myself too.
Okay.
I try to provide great customer service to my clients. I always tell my clients when they come for the consultations that I don't want you to just come and make this investment in your hair and then I'm not checking on you. So I make it a point to check on my clients at least once a week or once every couple weeks just to check on them and just make sure they're okay. That's
So do
something.
you write that into your calendar so that you'll know? Because I thought that was really nice. That was one of the other things that I liked about her, you guys. She would send me a text and just say, "Hey, Tonia," and I'm sitting there thinking, and she did the first time she did it. I thought, okay, it was just, that was just cool. It was a fluke. I just met her, but she does it all the time. So I'm like, I need to start penciling in to check on my friends and making sure they're okay. And before I'm like, I'm gonna get you before you get me. So do
Yeah.
you actually pencil that in and keep up with it, or is that just like your nature?
That's my nature. I don't have it on my books. I probably
Oh,
should put it there,
uh-huh.
but I just kind of like when I think about my clients will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I have a question about this," things like that. And then in my head I kind of trigger and I look at the last time I talked to them and said, "Oh my gosh, I haven't reached out since the beginning of October." So let
Mm-hmm.
me go through and I have a list of all my clients in my book and I just go through and just say, "Hey, just checking on you."
Oh, okay, okay. That's a good idea. I'm gonna have to start doing that. Um, just to, because with us, everybody working from home now, we don't have as much personal interaction. So it probably would be pretty cool to be able, just to reach out to your friends. Because I have one girlfriend, she remembers everybody's birthday.
Yeah, that's
Everybody's
me.
birthday. And are you there? And I'm like, was it your birthday? If I didn't see it pop up on Facebook, I probably did not. And I'm like, this not even a personal thing. This is just, I'm all over the map. So I
Yeah.
barely remember my kids and my husband's birthday. So I'm gonna really have to do better. And I've tried several planners. I'm trying to get a better planner though, so that works for me in my life and all the calendars that I have to maintain.
Yeah.
So maybe I can do that. Now, for the people who are listening that might be scared or nervous about what the next phase of their life looks like, or maybe I can ask you this first, this question first. Would you consider this the second phase of your life, or is this like one of many phases that you've been through or transitioned through from young Tiffany to now? And then do you feel like there's another phase and we need to work towards another phase, or what are your thoughts? And I know now that you trust yourself more or you've stepped out more, are you more comfortable with whatever is going to come like within the next few years?
Yes, I feel like this is one of many phases. My first phase was my love is I have a volleyball love, so I was
Okay.
coaching for several years. So
Mm-hmm.
I've moved out of coaching. I still would like to coach maybe a couple times more, but that was one of my phases. Now I am a sister life practitioner,
Right.
and I do see myself retiring in this realm, and
Okay.
even going into possibly doing some mentoring at one time. I would like to start, some type of blog. I think we've talked about that. Just something
Mhm.
where I could share a little bit more. I think would be something that I would definitely look into going to.
Awesome. See, so guys, it doesn't have to stop or end. Tiffany is a live example of how we can keep reinventing and keep, I mean, from volleyball to Sister Lock Consultant, no one would think that the two were related at all. However, here we are, and she's doing very well in her practice and her business. So kudos to that. Kudos to that. And so um I guess we'll end on the note where we're telling the ladies if there's one thing you wanted to share with any of the ladies who are coming down the pipe and want to, what would you share? What's something you would share for a new person that came to you and was like, I don't know what it's gonna look like. What do what would you
Okay.
share for them?
Oh,
What piece of advice?
a huge piece of advice would be, I would just make it happen. That's one of my, you say you don't want to have regrets, but I do regret a little bit of just like not, I wish I was 10 years younger and that, that
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. But here I am, I'm doing it and, I'm here. So I would suggest drawing up a game plan on kind of like what your goals would be. When do you want to have X, Y, and Z done? Where do you want to be? We talk about in 5 years, in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do that and then expedite it. Try to reach out to people that are already doing it. I do have, and I did mention this earlier, Tanya, I do have 2 to 3 mentors that I reach out to on a regular basis, and I have since I started when I took my certification back in April of 2020, and they have helped me tremendously. They've been in the business for one of my mentors for 12 years and one for about 5 to 6 years. And I do also, like Tanya mentioned, I take care of other types of locks as well that really were my pinpoint when I first started traditional locks and things like that. Um, I would also give the advice to do what you love and make sure that you do that every day. I absolutely love hair. I feel like, I don't have a cosmetology degree and you don't need one to do sister locks, but that is something I've also looked into going to. So kind of piggybacking from your last question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just, I don't ever feel like I'm working. And that is a huge, just a blessing to just kind of get up and say, hey, I'm going to do what I love.
Right.
Just the other day, it's so interesting. One of my twins asked me, she was sitting in my chair and I was doing her hair. She said, Mommy, how can you just sit and do this all day?
Uh-huh.
And I said, I don't know. I don't even think about it. And it doesn't bring me, anxiety. It doesn't worry me. And the biggest goal for me is to see my clients come away with a beautiful product and see progress through their hair. And so that, like, again, doing what you love and seeing those results every day, that should be your goal.
Right, right. She has a point. That is something to be able to sit there. Like I said, that patience, the patience of Job to sit there and do the lock. So let me ask you this. And for those of us who might be just joining, I'm talking with Tiffany Hunter, who is the owner and founder of Lock Your World. And we're talking about her business, Sister Lock Technician or Practitioner. So if the people are trying to get in touch with you, what or walk me through first of all, like the process of what they would have to do if anyone's even considering getting locks, what would the process be to work with you?
That's a great question. One of the things that I did when I was considering sister locks is, of course, you can find anything on Instagram, um, Pinterest, YouTube, those types of things. I looked a lot on Instagram just to get an idea of what they look like, those types of things. But sometimes YouTube can be a little bit misleading and give you some of the um,
The cons versus
opinions
the
and
pros.
that type of thing. So, but the process would be to take a look at my Instagram page at Lock Your World, and I also have a Facebook page. I am currently working on my website, so that's up and coming. But then you would contact me, and then I can schedule what we call a consultation. At
Mhm.
that point, I would measure your hair. My prices are dependent upon length and density. Density would be how thick your hair is,
Right.
that type of thing. So, and then from that point on, you would decide whether or not you want to go forward. I would also install what we call test locks, just to be sure that the correct locking technique is being used in your hair for
Okay.
your specific type of hair.
Okay.
And then at that point, you would decide whether or not you want to go forward, and you would go ahead and set a date with me for establishment.
Awesome, awesome. Simple, simple. Look, easy peasy. Get a consultation, get you some test locks and say, oh yeah, that'll work. And come on back and get the whole establishment.
Right.
Um, and okay, so that's great. So Lock Your World, that's on Facebook and Instagram where you can reach her, right? Or look or find her.
Yes.
So that's awesome, awesome, awesome. And she posts regularly. She has beautiful, beautiful pictures and yeah, pictures out there for you to see her work and get to know how she works and what it work looks like. And I trust her with my hair. So that in and of itself should be a lot because if you know me, you know Tanya don't play about her hair. And I have tried several texts, and Tiffany is the one that I am like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with Tiffany. I'll just wait for Tiffany. So yeah, but Tiffany, I appreciate you for coming on Take Two with Tanya today. Everybody check out the show notes and you'll see how to get in touch with her. And also like, comment, and share. Share, 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 share. Right? We learn it in groups of 3. So share,
Yes.
share, share. Like, comment, and share with everyone. If you have any referrals for anybody that wants to get Sister Lock, remember Tiffany Hunter with Lock Your World. And this is Tanya Myers with Take Two with Tanya. We will see you guys next week. Same channel, same bat station, all that kind of stuff. All right. Peace and love.
Bye-bye, guys.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Take Two with Tanya. Thank you for joining us. Please be sure to like, share, and comment on whatever platform you happen to be listening to. Remember, if you share, tag me at Take Two with Tanya. I would love to see who all is out there listening. Lastly, remember, you create your own reality and you are 100% responsible for your life. Till next week, I love you all, and this is Tanya with Take Two with Tanya.